The respiratory virus, RSV, is starting to overwhelm Colorado hospitals.
Yeah, each hospital is experiencing something different, but the numbers do show a dramatic increase. 9 News reporter Darius Johnson joins us in the studio this morning in Darius Children's Hospital, Colorado. They're reverting to kind of pandemic-era solutions here.
Hey there, Gary. That's right. Children's Anschutz campus has deployed a patient care tent outside of the ER to treat patients who are not emergent. It's kind of the first thing that was used at the start of the pandemic to treat COVID patients. And right now they're bringing it back because they are struggling with the number of children who are coming in with RSV. Doctors say the difference this year is the virus is spreading much earlier than usual. CDPHE is currently tracking data for the state as cases continue to rise. According to their RSV report, Colorado has seen 367 hospitalizations as of October 1st and 57 outbreaks in schools and child care facilities. While Children's Hospital is currently trying to expand its capacity to treat more patients, Rocky Mountain Hospital for Children says they are doing what it can to prevent reaching those critical levels.
We're definitely seeing an uptick in cases, both in numbers and when they first started to appear. We saw RSV this summer, which is very, very unusual. So I think it's important for us not to have everybody panic, but also pay attention to what your child is feeling and doing.
Now, doctors at Children's Hospital say their current number of hospitalizations for RSV is much higher than the peak that they saw just last year in 2021. They say that they've already began to postpone medical procedures. And as of now, luckily, Colorado has yet to see any deaths related to RSV. And doctors at these hospitals say they are working very hard to prevent that.
Yeah, there have been some deaths nationwide, so it's really important that if you have the symptoms, you get the kids in.
Yeah, I mean, especially as you're seeing so much of it happen, and especially since there is no cure, no vaccine at this point in time, these parents are stuck with kind of doing everything they can to make sure their children are okay.
Yeah. All right, Darius, thank you.
This week, the school leaders are planning to vote on a big overhaul of how social studies is taught in schools. The State Board of Education will vote on whether to adopt some updated standards. That change leaves out LGBTQ references in younger students' lessons and removes lists of specific minority groups to be covered in history lessons. The board will vote on Thursday. Also this week, school leaders in Jefferson County have a big decision to make. Yeah,
they're voting on whether to close 16 schools. That would be over the next 2 summers. Jeffco is struggling with declining enrollment as other districts are. Leaders say that there just aren't enough elementary school students to keep every campus open. Over the summer, the district picked out 15 schools to close next summer and 1 more campus to close in the summer of 2024. All of the campuses have another school nearby, they say, where the students can go instead. Families have been able to give feedback on this plan over the past couple of months. But the superintendent has been pretty clear from the beginning that the district can't avoid closing schools.
We're not thrilled. We struggled with putting this recommendation together, and we struggle presenting it tonight. At the same time, we do believe that the right thing to do is have the right courage to do the hard work so that we can more robustly resource our schools.
The Jefferson County School Board will vote on the closure plan on Thursday night.
Denver Public Schools is facing the same kind of decision this month. 10 DPS schools could be closed. And tonight, 2 school board members who are against the plan are holding a community meeting about it. Denver School Board discussed the plan last week. Some board members said they were frustrated with the process, and some have already said they won't support the plan. So they want to hear feedback from the community. The district is also holding a public comment session next Monday. Parents will have to sign up on the DPS website this week to give feedback. Then the school board will vote on the closures on the 17th.
Well, Election Day is tomorrow, of course, and so far, almost 1/3 of all the voters in Colorado have turned in their ballots. That's according to the latest data from the Secretary of State's office. In total, 3.8 registered voters, that's almost 1.1 million ballots have been returned. And you have until tomorrow night at 7 to get your ballot in. It is too late to mail it, of course, so you have to drop it off at a box, or you can always go vote in person. We have a list of all the locations where you can do that on our website, 9news.com.
And 9 News will be with you through election night tomorrow. NBC's coverage of the national midterm election starts at 6 o'clock on Channel 9. Then on Channel 20 and 9 News Plus, we're going to have live coverage beginning at 7 as results start coming in for Colorado races. We'll have local updates on Channel 9 throughout the evening, leading up to 9 News at 10. And then, of course, we'll be with you the next morning to break down the results as well. Well, it was on this day 10 years ago when voters decided to legalize marijuana in Colorado.
This day, since then, Coloradans have bought and sold $13 billion worth of marijuana. 9 News reporter Cole Sullivan looks back at Amendment 64 and how it continues to influence legalization efforts today.
It was a pretty crazy party, I'll tell you that.
The party
I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime.
celebrated the launch of a new industry
We were successful and kind of stunned, honestly.
and the start of a movement.
You know, voters are just fed up with these laws.
A decade ago, Colorado voters passed Amendment 64, legalizing recreational marijuana.
We just wanted this to work.
Mason Tvert and Brian Vicente co-led the Yes effort.
And we knew we were a part of history and that Colorado voters had stepped out and said we're going to change the arc of this.
Colorado's vote did change the arc of marijuana policy. In the 10 years since, voters in 18 other states legalized weed. Most used the campaign and policy models debuted here.
Those are pretty old school right there.
Since Colorado's yes vote, the state reports $13.4 billion in legal marijuana sales. It has collected $2.2 billion in state taxes. Most of that money is earmarked for public schools or sent to the state's marijuana fund, where lawmakers can only spend it on certain programs, including health care, substance abuse, and law enforcement.
10 years in, I think it's been just an unqualified success.
Vicente and Tvert still work on legalization efforts in other states. 5 more will vote on marijuana measures this Tuesday, part of the lasting impact of Colorado's vote 10 years ago.
The win in Colorado really inspired a lot of discussion. It got a lot of elected leaders, both in the U.S. and abroad, re-examining their cannabis policies.
Of course, marijuana is still illegal on the national level, but the two strategists say as more states legalize pot, pressure continues to go up on the federal government to do the same thing.
Well, a lot of new kinds of jobs have come about since marijuana was legalized, and at MSU Denver School of Hospitality, students are learning to cook with cannabis. They use something called CBD isolate, which has no THC in it. The teacher, Shannon Donnelly, also works in the cannabis industry. She says it can really help show students what options are out there.
Where do they want to be in cannabis, right? Do they want to be a private chef and make dinners? Do they want to work inside of an edibles manufacturing lab and make gummies or chocolates or things like that? Or do they want to be a bud tender and help people find the products that best for them? And that's kind of this fun thing that I get to kind of help the students figure out.
Yes, this is actually a class in college. Donnelly says the class actually involves a lot of math than a lot of the students actually expect. But she tells us it was so popular this semester, they're going to bring it back in the spring.
And why not? Who doesn't want to be a gummy chef? I mean,
it's so funny, and it's
pretty good to me.
so Colorado.
Yeah, it's so Colorado, isn't it?